Armored Core lore, Leos Klein. A raven who wanted to change the world. Was he a hero, a rebel, or simply an old man seeking to return the way things used to be? History. While this raven's history is not spoke of much, it is from the Armored Core 2 navigation guide. We learn at the time of Armored Core 2, Leos was 90 years old, however he had the looks of a 40-year-old. This was due to Human Plus enhancements, keeping him alive from the time of the AI of Nineball played its part in Earth's history, and allowed him to keep the title of Ninebreaker for so long. His childhood, much like other ravens, is very much hidden, as is much of Leon's past. Even to this day, there is speculation that the raven in Armored Core Master of Arena, who defeated Nineball Zereth, is none other than him. However, when he became a plus is still very much in debate, as Leos could have had this any time during his life, early or late. Yet what we do know, thanks to the emails in Armored Core 2, is that Leos would be one of the ravens to go with Geomatrix to Mars on their first trip there. Acting as security along with other ravens, it's here he possibly met ravens like Strung, Boyle, and Ramil. After this, however, it seems the old man would retire from his role as a raven, perhaps to rest or plan his next move, as he is known to be an ambitious man. Still, it seems this raven of the past would soon be called to work again, as with Mars becoming a battlefield for corporations and Earth's LCC branch proving to be ineffective, the Earth government will call upon Leos to lead a new security branch of the Earth government named the Frighteners. His skills as a raven made him the perfect choice, and maybe his ambitious nature too, as perhaps the government looked to appeal to it. Little did they know Leos' ambition would be the very thing that would cause the biggest rebellion of all time. Yet before this, Leon would prove himself to be an excellent leader, earning the respect of one raven, Ramil, who seemed to hang off every word. The Frighteners would soon gain a reputation as an elite group, with its ranks filled with skilled ex-ravens. It is believed they gained this reputation on Earth before going to Mars by the request of the LCC, as it seems this would be the group's first time here. Yet one might find that hard to believe, as the Raven of Armored Core 2 finds out during the mission guard secret information. Both his aide and even Lana sound terrified by the mere sight of these elite ravens in their armored cores. In truth, the Frighteners had been supplied with parts from Balena, who wanted to be seen as helping the Earth government, who up to this point had been making no ground on Mars. But with Leos at the helm, Mars would soon face a reckoning, as the Frighteners would be noted by Lana in an email to be taking out ravens at every chance they got, organize an attack to cripple Emerald's forces on the mission Ardean River invasion, and even push the Mars branch of Geomatrix into rebelling against their Earth branch, who could see the Frighteners were not holding back, and if they kept fighting, there may be no Mars or ravens left for them. In the end, Leos with his forces had managed to tame Mars and its wild corporations faster than ever before. Finally, the LCC announced it would be getting a new director to the LCC, and the Special Forces would be guarding his arrival, as soon all ravens would work for them, as they had achieved unification on Mars. It was, however, all too perfect for the ambitious Klein, who with the support of the Frighteners would rebel and start a war with the Earth government right there and then. He calls for ravens to join him to create a world free from trying to rule over them, and his action would quickly throw Mars back into chaos, as along with his own forces, Leos would also activate the controls for all disorder units, causing them to rise up and take out anything in their path, Frighteners or Earth government. Klein, however, would not be seen again until the mission infiltrates STA battleship, where in its depths he awaits the Raven, where he says this.
You remind me of another pilot I knew long ago. A rebel. I've already figured someone like you into my calculation. It's my intention that you do not interfere with my plans.
Was this the reminiscing of an old man who was looking back at his life as a rebel, or the monologue of a villain who was too confident for his own good? We may never know, as the Raven and Leos would battle it out here until only the Raven stood. Yet the mastermind behind all this would escape, telling the Raven of Armored Core 2 as he does,
Raven, it's not over yet. Phobos, that is where I'll be reborn.
Phobos, the second moon of Mars, or really the large planned weapon which Klein used to activate the rampaging disorder units and threatened to ram into Earth. It's here questions have been raised by historians, like why would the government send a single Raven to do this? After all, if this super weapon was active already, wouldn't they want all Ravens to help in stopping it? In truth, while a reason is never given, it may fall down to a number of things. The first being that some ravens will have joined Klein's side, as such they too had to be dealt with, so a number of ravens would be assigned to that task. Another reason may be the fact the government cannot afford it. After all, the Earth government did not have the income like the corporations did, as such maybe one raven is all they could afford. Although in truth, the more likely case is that the government did have a backup plan. Maybe the raven was selected due to their record on Mars. A highly effective raven who has never failed a mission is worth more than a few who have. But again, this is just a thought, as nothing is ever written down to suggest the reason for this one-man army idea. Nevertheless, the faith in the raven by the government would pay off, as this mercenary would make their way through the corridors of this super weapon. It would be, however, as the raven advances, he would soon come to find Ramil dying in a smoking AC, her radio crackling from the shots, as with her final breath she says,
Klein, why? We were nothing but pawns?
It seems not even those loyal to him meant something to Klein, as the raven would finally come face to face with Leon once more. Only this time the old raven had merged with the disorder unit, which would be named the Scarabius. Best described as a floating weapons platform, this craft is armed with machine gun weapon arms, 6 missile launchers with 3 mounted on each side of the ring on its back, and 4 energy weapons with 2 mounted on each of its sides. Seeing the raven once more, he then explains that his plan for a free raven world was not what he wanted. Instead, he says,
All that I've wanted to do is to revive the ways of old. Die, rebel!
A raven looking to go back to humans being ruled or guided over. Could his time under the Nine-Ball AI really have shown him the ways humans are meant to live? Under the guidance of another, as they are too reckless, too war-hungry, and unable to lead their lives without destroying others. If this was his dream, the raven did not seem to want it, as the two would face off again. Shots and missiles fired until the raven thought Klein was dead. However, in truth, this disorder unit had a second form, known as the Filial. This slim disorder unit would be Klein's final card, as the raven, still battle-worn from before, would jump into the fray once more. The pair battling for an idea, or was this simply another job for the raven? After all, for a raven, war and fighting is what they desire. The freedom of choice will always bring conflict, and that in turn will make jobs for all ravens. In the end, however, fighting for freedom or the large paycheck, the Filial would fall here. Crackling with electric, his body starts to break down. It's here that Klein would help the raven, as Phobos starts to speed up to crash into the Earth. He tells the raven to destroy the orbit control mechanism. Phobos will stop when you do so. The raven does so. However, with its destruction, Phobos starts to break up. Explosions and shaking make the raven flee to try and escape. But as they do, Klein has one last question for the raven. A question scarily the same as the Nine-Ball asked its killer, the raven in Armored Core 1. What is your wish? While the fate of the raven is unknown, for Leos Klein his story would end here, dying inside Phobos as it explodes, gracing Earth with a light show instead of its doom. In the end, however, how the Earth government in history would see this man is best said by Lana.
Society refers to him as the revolutionary who tried to create a government on Mars. I don't agree with that. But it's impossible to know what he really intended, now that Phobos is destroyed and the LCC and Frighteners no longer exist. I don't think he was mistaken, though. I just think he used the wrong means in attempting to obtain what he wanted.
This is all we know about Leos Klein, the revolutionary who tried to make a government on Mars. However, as Lana said, perhaps this was not what he wanted. After all, he spoke very much about wanting to revive the old ways. If he is speaking about the AI that used to control humanity underground, was he trying to right his own wrong? Was all this done to right actions he did as a young rebel himself? Did he now see why the AI was needed? Or perhaps in truth, he was simply an old man who saw the world trying to repeat its mistakes and wanted to stop it the only way he knew how, through power. This ends the report on the raven known as Leos Klein.